everyone has their own mind. The players are sold a different project, the manager is sold a different project, and the owners themselves have a different project. That has to come to one collective unit and has
Anirudh,
to work out for Chelsea.
yeah, I believe I have an explanation on that, combining with what Arvind said earlier about investing into a manager to have his players so that they can be developed. So the project is led by the manager in that situation. But Chelsea, that ambiguity can exist because of what Anirudh recently said. But I believe the club has already taken in a direction to address this ambiguity, wherein one central leadership is in charge of the key decisions. Now, one main reason, it's an accusation more so than a reason, which people say why coach was pissed off at Chelsea management, was that Chelsea decided to recruit a set piece coach who is separate from Pochettino's team. So these decisions have, so what Bioli has done is, Bioli and Egbali leadership, they have currently given more of the power and decision making to sporting department than the coach. So if at all the coach wants to have a player, he's not directly able to go to recruitment and says, okay, this is the play kind of or profile that I'm targeting. He has to go to recruitment via sporting. So it has to get the clearance of sporting department before the decision is further. And this, I think, happened last year when we were trying to buy the defensive midfielder. So you all are familiar with what happened in the Caicedo saga. But Pochettino, originally, it is said that he did not want Caicedo. His prime target for defensive midfield was Manuel Ugarte, who is currently in PSG. But it was more the sporting department's decision to go for Caicedo, and they convinced Pochettino that this is the right decision, and that's how the power play worked. So the direction the club is currently taking is they want to be modernized. They want to bring in data analytics into the decision making, and the power is slowly getting centralized with the sporting department, wherein they are compartmentalizing. It's sort of like what Anirudh said, what happens in MLS. So instead of one coach deciding all aspects of training and all aspects of the game, the sporting has decided to compartmentalize the powers of the different coaching departments. So the transfers, although the coach has a say in it, it's not decided by the manager. Set piece, they are recruiting a coach independent of the head coach. So the set piece coach, although he has to work together with the head coach, he's not reporting to the head coach, he's reporting directly to the sporting department. Now they're also going to compartmentalize the transfers, wherein that will work as a separate business unit, sort of, which again has to work hand in hand, but is not vertical. The hierarchy is not vertical. The head coach is not above the set piece coach. He's not above the recruitment team. They are working in parallels, where the sporting department is actually above everybody. It's sort of a pyramid-based structure that the club is
We,
trying to implement.
so
It
actually,
has
if you see the recent statement also released by Chelsea, they've gone back on the head coach and the manager saga. They've gone back to the saga where they already started initially. It is now manager, it is no more head coach, and now the manager would be butting into business, and the head coach will be usually only doing footballing decisions. So they've gone back a step from where they actually started. So that itself is a really tricky situation, because now it's almost square one, not exactly square one. So what happens now is, they should actually give the decision that they take. Probably they've got like 4 or 5 short lists. It's like McKenna, it's probably the Leicester manager Enzo Makesa
Enzo
and
Fernandez.
Thomas Frank, and then there is one more, Roberto Di Zerbi, and apparently there is a fifth manager in the running which is unnamed. So
Exactly.
we don't know which is unnamed, who the unnamed is. I genuinely feel like all the news coming to the media are bullshit, to be entirely honest, because they don't know what they're writing. Because one manager says Tuchel wants to come back, another source says Tuchel doesn't want to come back. So I don't believe any of the news that's coming, because no one knows what's happening at Chelsea. And I feel it's the manager that we are going to sign is someone like the player that we signed, Cole Palmer. So all this is basically, for us to it's being eye washed. And it's basically, that's my opinion and my perception, because Chelsea are doing something which is extremely under the radar, and it's like I feel it's going to be like how we signed Cole Palmer. It won't even be named in the media, but it will be, at the end of the day, that will be the manager that we signed. But all these players, all these reports coming out of different people actually is trying to sell them and their own PR, trying to push that manager having a better future at a different club, because now it's a great opportunity for a managerial market, because a lot of clubs are open, and a lot of good clubs are open. Chelsea is open. Almost Man United is open if they don't win the
Open.
FA Cup.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich is open.
Barcelona.
Barcelona is
Barcelona.
open. So you don't know where anyone is going to go. So I genuinely feel Chelsea should get that next signing right. So that's basically how I feel about all this, because it's just a big mess at the moment, and we just need stability, as they tell what stability is, and probably it might be a better season for fans expecting.
I mean, speaking of first team set piece coaches, right? Liverpool Football Club have literally put a LinkedIn post on for a first
Yeah.
team set piece coach. For Lord knows who he will be reporting to, like Arne Slot or any other Michael Edwards or any other guy in this Liverpool sporting department hierarchy.
No,
So speaking of,
this will be,
yeah,
I mean, the
yeah, I
set
mean,
piece
like
coach
this
will
was,
definitely report to Arne
yeah.
Slot. Why will he report to Michael Edwards? Michael Edwards is just there to oversee
No, we
operations of the club and hire players, along
yeah,
with Richard Hughes. So, yeah,
exactly.
shouldn't forget him
So
because a lot of people are overlooking Richard Hughes and
exactly.
forgetting that he's a sporting director right now.
Exactly. So Arvind, that was I would like to ask a question for you. That was a question for you. So we've always had a bigger and stronger feud with Chelsea over the years regarding the transfer market play, the players available in the transfer market, right?
It's basically the
So
last 2 years, so it's not a
the
big feud at all. Yeah.
okay, the quality of players in the feud was really high. So,
Yeah.
keeping in mind the feud regarding the players, but Liverpool and Chelsea also need to have a stronger rivalry to strengthen the Premier League going forward. We've always had a very healthy rivalry with Chelsea, disregarding the rivalry with Manchester United, Manchester City, and even Arsenal. So, who do you think are your top manager picks for Chelsea going forward, and what the hierarchy will do? So,
Before Arvind answers it, if you answer this rightly, I'll give you
yeah.
$500.
Can I answer Vincent
Nah,
Company?
Jesus takes man, fine, it's too less.
I'll answer Vincent Company. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Arvind, yeah.
Um, so see, if I'm say take it as a hypothetical situation, if I'm Boli and Iqbal or Iqbal, what my decision would be is first I'll check out whether I want instant success or I want sustained success over a period of say
Get you.
5 years, 7 years, 8 years, like how City have been getting. So if I want instant success, I'll get someone like Thomas Tuchel for sure. Just follow your ego, man. Come on, he's won you the Champions League. You
Yeah,
can go wrong. We're all
Not
humans,
just
but
us
then
swallowing our ego, it's
he's
also him
quality.
swallowing his ego.
Absolutely, it goes both ways. So yeah, so yeah, my topic will be Thomas Tuchel. He recently in an interview he said that he's got unfinished business in England too.
yeah,
So I feel if Thomas Tuchel comes back to Chelsea, the transition period will be slightly lesser. The players, a few of the players who played under him, oh shit, are they still here or not? That's a
No,
new
no, no.
question. Okay,
Most of the players
assuming
that played
that's
under Tuchel are
oh
gone.
gosh, okay, so
Only
that takes away the advantage of the players being used to his style and tactics. So yeah, anyways, at least he knows the league, and he's. I feel Tuchel is one of those managers who can give the likes of Guardiola, Arteta, and even Unai Emery a run for their money because tactically he's so good. Maybe yes, his man management skills aren't the best, or his ability to gel with the management and have that appropriate synergy to run a club and deliver trophies on a sustained level isn't the best. But then his tactical nous is just excellent. I mean, in the Premier League, we know how he's done. He started off well in the 21-22 season, but then again because of some situations like the injury crisis or say the fact that he fell out with a few players
yeah,
that led to Chelsea losing a bunch of games and eventually led to him being sacked. But then yeah, he's one of those managers who can get things right like a bit earlier than the likes of say a Maresca or say Kieran McKenna or say even Ruben Amorim for that example. Because
yeah,
if you're talking about managers who got the reputation of like encouraging youngsters to come up the ranks. Ruben Amorim is a great example. We know that there was a duopoly in Portugal between Porto and Benfica, and then this guy suddenly comes in and breaks the duopoly, and I think he's won two Portuguese championships
yeah.
in his reign. So yeah, Amorim has shades of Mourinho to him, and secondly, I feel that his tactics, which is basically a 3-4-3, may suit Chelsea because of the personnel they have.
see,
So
all
yeah,
this name is really cool, okay, Arvind. The thing,
exactly.
any manager who's going to come in has to have one thing in mind. He's not just going to take a team which is good. He has to coach the team because a lot of these youngsters they don't know what the proper tactics. They have not established themselves, and he basically has to teach them football, and that's basically one of the
Exactly,
criteria.
establishing the identity
Yeah,
is the first
exactly
step.
one of the criteria what the owners have mentioned. So I feel he has to teach them football and tactics. And if you give a coach like Unai Emery Mudrik, he will basically pull out his hair and run because that guy doesn't know what tactic is. He just will take the ball and run. So all these
You're
is a
right.
big missing point. But yeah, if anyone wants to pick up from there, but I feel it's
Yeah,
a
I
big.
would like to. So, Arvind, one place where I disagree with you, where you mentioned Tuchel is a good replacement, is that A, Tuchel has already been fired by the same management despite him
Exactly.
having delivered results. B, and more importantly, Tuchel is somebody. Tuchel has a very strong personality. He's not going to let others decide for him. He has had issues previously in a lot of clubs, in PSG, in Borussia Dortmund, where he was known for micromanaging. I do not believe that somebody who likes to rule with an iron fist, somebody who likes to have his signature in all departments like Tuchel, will agree that the Chelsea sporting department will sit above him and make certain decisions which will actually impact on the field. So, with the set piece coach, for example, if Tuchel wants that to be played in a particular way, he would want that to be played in only that particular way. He has that attitude. That is not going to work in the system that Chelsea are trying to implement. You need somebody who will work together with other departments, taking feedback from them and taking the best feedback from them. Tuchel is not that. He has crystal clear ideas, and because he has that clarity about his game, he's not going to let somebody else influence his ideas of the game. My bet would be somebody more like Roberto Di Zerbi, and I'm not saying Roberto Di Zerbi because he plays an attractive brand of football, and I do not
Yes,
think
the point is no. I'm sorry to cut you off. The thing is, everything points towards Roberto De Zerbi, even I, because Paul Winstanley has worked with him, and we've hired everyone for all
exactly
the players we've got from
from Brighton.
his
Exactly.
ex players, and I
Yeah,
think it has to be Roberto De Zerbi. And if it someone else like McKenna or
that would be a
uh,
surprise.
I
See,
would
with
basically keep
McKenna,
my
the jump will be too high. It will be too much of a jump because see, you
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
say that he's like got two successive promotions with Ipswich, but then
he was an
there's a
English third
hell in
tier 2
heaven.
years ago.
Exactly,
Exactly.
there's a hell in heaven difference between the Premier League and the English
Yeah,
third tier, or say the Championship. So yeah, McKenna or Maresca will be
no, see,
far-fetched idea
I
for the
do
time
agree.
being.
The thing is, Maresca is a little bit better suited to what Chelsea are looking for, because Chelsea have just told they want possession based, and McKenna is exactly opposite to whatever Maresca is. Maresca is basically a possession based footballer and possession based coach, and McKenna is basically a four type direct football player, and I don't think so. McKenna is going to hugely work out, and whatever works in Championship doesn't necessarily has to translate in
I'm
Premier
sure.
League, and we've seen that in Burnley.
Yeah,
We've seen what
all
happened to.
roads. See, all roads they are leading to De Zerbi at this
Yes,
moment
sir.
because he's available. He is available for free. The club's not going to have to pay him. Not that the club
No,
would actually
it's,
mind
it
paying.
is actually
The
not
more
true,
important,
because we still have to pay around 4.5 million to Brighton, and someone
we
has paid 4.5 million.
yeah, we paid 23, I believe, for
23.
Porter to
Yeah,
just come in and
exactly.
go up 8 months. So that's comparatively still small. And I think one major another factor, see, De Zerbi, a lot of clubs and a lot of fans want him for the style of football that he brings in. But that also comes with major flaws, which I believe Aravind has pointed out in the past, that as attractive as his team is in possession, off the ball, they're as fragile. So there are a lot of things that De Zerbi, the one argument that I have against De Zerbi is that De Zerbi has shown a lot of potential, tremendous potential as a coach, but he has to have that significant learning curve as a coach as well. He is not hit his peak as a manager. So right now, like Anirudh mentioned, we have a very young team who need to be taught how to play football. And Mudrik factor he mentioned, I completely agree with him because sometimes I've seen Mudrik make ridiculous off the ball runs when like anybody who's played academy level football has to know that
I
when we are
mean,
counting
there was a
somebody.
moment. I think you see in the West Ham game, there was a moment
Yeah,
where
yeah,
a player will literally tell him, "Just run. I will give you the
run,
ball."
yeah. And sometimes even when he runs, for example, when if Palmer was carrying the ball towards the center and we are on the counter, he has no need to run to the center. He has to run wide so that the defense stretches further and Palmer has more space to work with. But I've seen Palmer carrying the ball in the center and Mudrik just running diagonally into Palmer. That makes it easier for the defenders
The
because they can
ridiculous
come
thing
to the
is all the.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous thing is Palmer is the youngest of all, and he has the most maturity of all.
Most footballing brain. Now the problem with De Zerbi coming into coach a team like this is that he himself is a manager who is undergoing a growth, growth period. He
Exactly.
is learning, he is refining his methods, he is learning his principles as a coach. So do we want to have a coach who is learning while we have a squad who is learning football? I would say no. I would go for somebody much more established. But then again, an argument that comes in favor of De Zerbi is that since he had a past in Brighton and since we have bought so many players from Brighton, he has worked well and worked fantastically well in the past with, for example, Caicedo. He was the one who gave Levy Colville the much needed PL experience that he currently has, and that's the reason why he's playing in Chelsea main team now. He has worked previously with Mikhailo Mudryk of all players during his stint in Ukraine as the Shakhtar coach. So I would say he has a few things going for him in terms of familiarity with the players, the attractive brand of football that he plays. But it's again a mixed bag. He has so many disadvantages that he will bring in the sense of defensive shape being completely all over. He himself developing as a coach. That trial and error, we don't have room for coaches who do trial and error. We always have I mean, look at the appointments we've had in the past decade. We bought in Jose Mourinho, who had won Champions League with Porto. Then we bought in Luis Felipe Scolari, World Cup winning coach. Then we had Carlo Ancelotti of
Hello,
all people.
Ancelotti.
Yeah, we only go for established coaches. The last
Yeah,
time we
you see,
hired a young
I
coach who
do
was
agree to that.
experimental,
The
yeah, the
the
last
only
time, man,
point
if you
we are
remember the high, I just wrap it up with this. The last
yeah, yeah.
coach whom we hired was young, who was experimental, who was this hipster brand back then, was Andre Villas-Boas, and we all have to
Yes.
remember how that turned out
No,
because
we
that
Right.
player
also
power.
signed Sari. We also signed
Yeah,
Sari, who won nothing.
yeah. So Andre Villas-Boas,
He
somebody
won you the
as young as
Europa
Andre
League. Have some
Villas-Boas, Terry
bro.
bullied him.
Come on.
John Terry and Drogba, they bullied him.
Yeah. The
So I
dressing
No,
don't.
room
the,
was shambles. The dressing room was shambles, man.
so the thing is,
Actually,
see,
it was the other way, Charlie. The dressing room was united against the coach. I mean,
Yeah,
these
because
guys were running everything. Roberto Di
okay,
Matteo
good.
could come in like midway through the season and win the Champions League not because of his methods, it's because the players were kind of managing themselves as a group. The hierarchy was clear. Drogba, Terry, and Lampard, what they say, it goes, and the other players listen to them. You currently do not even have a leadership of that sort.
Leadership. Yeah.
Our captain plays 5 matches in one season and gets 2 red cards. So don't tell me about leadership
Gets
in
it.
Chelsea right now.
so see, the thing I also agree and kind of disagree is, see, a young coach is someone we did go for in the past also. They didn't have necessarily PL proven. See, when Mourinho came, he had no PL experience. He had all the arrogance and he just proved himself. And to actually look at the current PL era, if we take a look at, let's say, Arteta, he had basically literally zero proven experience and he did not have a good start at Arsenal. And if you take De Zerbi, he had no PL experience. So the point I'm getting at is like, if you give these coaches the time, if you give these coaches some patience and some bit of experience here and there, what happens is they actually eventually start, you start getting your flowers. So you can't hire a young manager and ask him to deliver UCL football immediately, start competing when all these guys have already had 3 or 4 years of experience in PL.
Yeah.
So that is ridiculous take on what these guys are asking. So I don't know how this is going to exactly fit. And I feel if we are going to actually hire a project, we have to not just talk the talk, walk the walk. Just give them the patience. Don't come and tell anything in the media. Don't give any presses. Don't talk shit about club. Talk about something which is established. Talk about your American sport which is actually established and they are winning. Don't talk about Chelsea. If they ask, skip it, move it. Because what happens is everything that it's talked, Boyle talks, it's been overblown, and it looks like he's taking the decision because he doesn't take decisions. And I feel even the Poch sacking, I don't think so. He wanted to sack Poch because 4 weeks before he had a dinner with Poch, and it was majorly Ekbali who came in with all the data, and he told. When you come into a room with data and tell an experienced manager like Poch saying, "Hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong," I would say like, "Hey, I know my job and I know what to do. You don't have to tell me what to do." So a manager has to have his ego. A manager has to have some bit of character because you can't hire an yes man and ask, you can't ask them to take every bit of your opinion. And if you want to give your opinion, it has to be in an orderly manner with a little bit of respect. And I feel they lost a little bit of respect to Poch because Poch did not like whatever Ekbali did. So if they are going to hire, let's say, De Zerbi has to have at least 2 to 3 years because what the difference between Brighton and Chelsea is Chelsea have a little bit of better quality than what Brighton had. So he might actually implement his football better in transition. He might be able to defend better. That might be my only counterpoint because we have defenders, a lot better defenders than what Brighton had. And we might, if he needs a player, we actually might get him that. So the thing is, he can implement his style a lot better if it is De Zerbi or any other manager who's coming. So the quality that we saw in Championship with McKenna might actually work if you want to do the devil's advocate here, because the quality of the players that Chelsea have, that he has to bring out that quality, and he has to, the only again, if you go back to Poch, every player believed in Poch and his tactics. It's the
Exactly.
player wanted to believe, player did believe, and everyone was shocked. And to going the way he went, it's a little bit of an instability for the next manager to come in to make his belief into the players, and that has to translate on the pitch. So we are back to square one in terms of what the expectations are for the next season. But I feel Chelsea can't get a lot wrong, so it can't go much worse than this. I think they will be there or thereabouts. I think my expectation of them to be finishing thereabout would be fifth or sixth next season. Again, because I feel Poch had his drawbacks. He had a lot of injury issues of his players, and I think that will all rectify this season, and we'll get a lot of more experience. Like Nkunku will be back, Lavia will be back. Fofana will be back. All these players have a lot more PL experience now. So I think we are a better place than what we are the last season. And
Certainly.
so,
The players have also played together for 1 year at the top level. I think
yeah.
that chemistry also really matters. I would really hope that we challenge for Champions League, and I'm
It's
betting
crazy to
all.
think that we signed Fofana 2 years ago and he's not even made 10 appearances. Yeah.
Lavia, we signed him last 1 year
Lavia.
ago.
Yeah.
He hasn't played one full match. So, and I think injury has hit Chelsea really bad. So, with all those players coming back in, the players who were taking to the field last year,
Yeah.
having played together for 1 year for the first
Quality
time,
itself elevates.
better place. Qualities, the squad quality has certainly improved. I think we are better placed than last season. So, a manager who replaces Poch has a slightly easier job in terms of developing the squad and integrating it together than what Poch had. And I'm thankful to Poch for bringing them together. There's an established structure. Certain players know their roles, and some of them have really, really come of age. Cole Palmer and Gallagher are like two really good examples that I would like to point, because
Are you
Gallagher, I
guys in
think,
Europe next season, by the way?
We
yeah,
we
Are
pray
you
to
guys in
God that
Europe?
no, we pray to God that
oh, Man
United
City.
lose. So yeah, if we United lose, we are automatically in Europa League. So yeah.
I'm using coconut oil every day to oil my head so that that oil money can go to Man City and maybe United.
Okay, guys,
Unreal, unreal.
guys. Okay. Speaking of going to square ones, hiring managers, firing old managers, adopting tactics and such. As we has put up a point before, Roman Abramovich and his era started off with a stronger than concrete backbone such as Czech, Lampard, Drogba, Makalele, and John Terry. Okay,
Yeah.
so if at all Chelsea are to kickstart a new era as like the next Mourinho of Chelsea or the next Sir Alex Ferguson of Chelsea or the next Klopp of Chelsea. Okay, so who would you like to be the next backbone of Chelsea, like the JT, Lampard, Drogba,
See,
Makalele,
see, there are a lot
backbone
of
of Chelsea?
players for Chelsea in each
Yeah.
part of the field. I feel
No,
Nkunku is.
Anirudh, yeah. I get the dynamics and I get the ins and outs, who could come in and who could come out. But possibly who you guys know who has the Chelsea passion, okay? You guys know who has the heart to play for Chelsea and who looks like a Chelsea player, like Cole Palmer. Okay, he has the ability to become a Chelsea legend, in my own
I
opinion, in my humble
probably
opinion.
say at this point in time, it's Reece James. I'd still
Yeah.
say I'll
Okay.
still back Reece James a lot because see the guy is pure talent. The only thing is that he has to address his attitude issues and probably he has severe problem with his discipline. And if he gets this discipline back, and I feel he has so much quality in him, and I feel that he might
I
um,
completely disagree with Anirudh for the first time today. I don't see any potential in Reece James as a leader. See, quality is one thing, and there is no question about it.
he
Reece
doesn't
James is
have to be a
probably
leader. The thing is,
the
he just
he
has
is
to
the
be.
captain. He has the armband on his shoulder.
No,
He has to be a
I
leader,
don't
and he
think so.
was
He
never
might be the captain anymore. The next manager might come and change the
that
captain.
would be a that is the first step that I would like the new manager to take, because that attitude issue that Anirudh
Yeah.
mentioned, he is extremely reckless. The last time referees in Premier League, we all know that they make errors and sometimes they are baffling errors. But you also have to, as a player, do that cost benefit analysis. I'm going to go swear the referee and call him names. Fine, the referee hears it, and at the end of the day, you have to pay the fine. You are getting carded. Your team suffers. He does not have that in him. The last red card he got, he was winning a free kick, and the other player was getting yellow carded for the tackle. He simply kicked out at the other player and got a red card in a match that would have gone very badly for us had we lost. Our place in Europe would not be guaranteed. I think it was extremely irresponsible, not just in one match. And Anirudh, more importantly,
Yeah,
like, you can have the
yes.
best player in your team, but if that player plays only 5% of your team's
Yeah.
matches, no. I
Yeah.
would rather have an average player who can play 90% of the matches.
No, I
I think
completely
about
agree.
leadership.
No.
So I don't think Reece James deserves to
See, the
be Chelsea
problem
captain
with
right
Reece
now.
James is he didn't want to.
Brilliant player, but he's unavailable. His
No, no,
attitude
no.
is
Yeah,
poor.
no,
He doesn't have
I do understand it. The problem is that Reece James did not want to get that surgery, and now he got the surgery. I think he's rehabbed well, and I hope he's coming back and he'll play a fully fit season. Because I last season at the end, the doctors recommended him to have the surgery for his hamstring, and he denied it, and he said, "I will do
he
my
wanted to
rehab."
go to
And
World
yeah,
Cup.
yeah,
He put his
and he
fitness.
did not want, and he immediately got injured again. Now he's gotten the surgery. I think he'll be a much better position than what
See,
he
I'll be
was.
the happiest person if James comes back fit and plays in the Chelsea squad,
Yeah.
because he's a brilliant player, like top three right back in the world when he's fit. And I don't mind saying that. Brilliant defensively, can defend one on one, can carry the ball. The Reece James chest down control is a sight to behold. Can shoot. I mean, he grew up in the academy setup as a striker, can shoot. And if you remember his launch spell, Reece James's launch spell in Wigan Athletic is one of the greatest launch spells in history. He went there in a season where their starting right back was the player of the year in the previous season. And in the presser, when he signed, he was asked, "Are you familiar with any other position apart from right back? Because we already have a very good right back." He said, "I'm here to play right back, and I'm going to play right back." 1 month into the season, he was their starting right back. 2 months into the season, he was their center midfielder because he was by far their best player. He played 47 matches in one season for Wigan
Yeah.
Athletic that year. He was the player of the season, fans player of the season. He also scored their goal of the season, and at the end, he also won a community charitable trophy from Wigan Township because he was coaching footballers. So there is no question about his potential. It's through the roofs. But I don't see him as a captain. My pick for captain, and I think this is the first change the new coach should make, is you have to give it to Gallagher. Gallagher is proper Chelsea. Gallagher.
Gallagher won't even be at Chelsea next season, buddy.
No, no,
The
we
problem.
cannot afford to sell Gallagher,
See, that
man. There is
is
no
why
way we are
Chelsea
going
will
to
make it.
balance
They
No,
get
no,
rid
no.
of him.
I will just come to. I'll just finish with this. The thing is, problem with academy prospects right now is we just have to sell around 80 million or to be in the profit and sustainability rules, and we are looking at selling it. And all the podcasts and all the sources are pointing towards selling Gallagher and Trevor
It won't
Chalobah and
happen. It
Broya.
won't happen. The club cannot afford to sell Gallagher because if they do, the fans are going to riot,
No,
and
I'm
the board
saying it's
will
not
have a
about the club's decision. The club has to, otherwise we will be in huge
the club
problems.
has to see. The reason why Gallagher is the prime contestant to be sold is not because he played badly or he's not key at Chelsea. The only
No, yeah,
reason is that he's an academy product, and any amount we sell him for is booked as a pure profit because he came
yeah,
for free. But the club
yeah,
has other avenues to raise that money. I'm pretty sure Shalhoub. I don't want him gone from Chelsea. I think he's a very good defender.
yeah.
But I think those are the players. Shalhoub is going to go. We are going to raise some money by selling Romelu Lukaku to some Italian club. So the money has to come from other avenues because Gallagher is somebody whom we should be building the team around. Above average footballer. I mean, not top 10 midfielders in PL. I have no doubts about it. But he has
I
the
think
passion. He has shown glimpses.
you might have some hard reality checks this summer.
No, no, no. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that the club cannot afford to let Gallagher go. There is no way Chelsea can afford to let
No,
Gallagher
I
go.
agree with you too, but I don't think so.
Unpopular opinion, I feel you guys should cash in on Enzo.
I
I
would
think yeah,
agree.
see, I have
Because you guys
my
have
points
played
on
much
Enzo.
better when he's absent.
Yeah,
Although
yeah.
this kind of sounds like correlation is equal to causation, but then yeah,
No, the
Enzo is
thing
one
is,
of those players who's got a very good reputation still. And if you guys look to sell him, you can get a pretty good amount.
I'll tell you the exact reason on Enzo, because I've talked about this in a lot of other pods, not here. So probably around it'll take around 5 to 6 minutes if we do have time for it. I'm assuming.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, see, with Enzo, no, that is the huge problem I had with Poch. Huge problem I had with Poch was misprofiling Enzo, misprofiling Ben Chilwell, misprofiling, sometimes even Cole Palmer. What happens is you should give this guy Enzo space, and we used Enzo and Caicedo exactly opposite. Caicedo should be the guy who is receiving the ball in pressure, and Enzo should be the guy who should be utilizing the space. And we exactly use them opposite. So what happens is in every build-up play, Enzo will be the guy in pressure, and every build-up, Caicedo will be the guy who will have extremely extra space. So and who the hell plays Chilwell as left wing, bro? I ripped my hair off when he played Chilwell left wing, and that's the problem. Huge problems I had with Poch. So I'm so glad that Poch is gone, and there is no more Chilwell left wing, no more Caicedo in space, no more Enzo in pressure. Because the problem with him is the same problem that PSG fans had. He put Messi as a central offensive mid when he's a pure right winger. He put Di Maria as again midfielder when he's a left winger. All this is a problem of Poch. So he misprofiles not only at Chelsea, he misprofiled them in PSG too. And he made Angel Di Maria look like an bang average footballer. He made Mbappe look like a bang average footballer. He made Messi look like a bang average footballer. So I have no doubts in the potential of Enzo, and he's going to come flourishing in this Chelsea team. And I don't think so he's going to go anywhere anytime soon. And any club who wants him, we hold all the cards because we have another 7 years of Enzo to go. So even if you want to sell him, you guys have to pay around 120 or 130 million, and we'll have a profit on whatever we got him for. So that's a problem I had with Poch on how he misprofiled Enzo, because that's had a very bad reputation on what he can actually deliver. We saw how he delivered under Potter, or the little glimpses he had it under Lampard. And this is not the Enzo that we bought. And Poch has extremely misprofiled him, and he's put his reputation under gutters, in my opinion.
Coach also played
we'll take him
Cucurella
for a
as a
discount.
midfielder and it worked. So sometimes those experiments tend to work. I mean, Cucurella, I didn't think he had any future at Chelsea, but when Poch
Yeah.
made him into a midfielder in possession and fullback out of it, he was one of our best players. Like last 5-6 games, Cucurella was actually top 3 every match for Chelsea. As for Enzo, I think one main problem that Enzo does is that he He knows that he's a superstar of the team, and he tends to sometimes play like it. He does not play to the team's tempo, and I've often seen him make this mistake. He has that quality to bring down balls, to hit those passes. And my point is, just because you can doesn't mean you always have to. Enzo tries to up the pace of the game when people around him are not ready. The team is not set to defend, and he's going to ping in that brilliant through ball to the on-rushing winger. It will reach the winger, but after it reaches the winger, what happens after that? There is nobody in support of the winger. So Enzo, I think he personally needs a lot more refinement. He has to. I mean, what I would suggest Enzo is, download Tony Cruz Real Madrid career highlights, sit at home, watch it on a loop, and see how you, as a number 8, control the pace of the
No, the
game.
problem with that,
Enzo is
no,
the
yes.
quality number
See,
8, but
he can do all the quality. The problem is the players. Not Enzo doesn't have to watch it. The players around him have to watch it because he ups the tempo. The players around him doesn't have. It's not up to his game. So if we
he's
are going
not.
to build a team around Enzo, then I
He
agree. But I
shouldn't.
think
He shouldn't.
See,
I say
this is what's the hallmark of
the
a good
more
number
important
8. Like,
midfielder for us, Anirudh, is Caicedo. We are going to build our midfield around Caicedo.
yeah,
Caicedo is
he
the
should
more
be.
important midfielder than Enzo. He has shown over the last 10 or 15 games what a quality player he can be. So Enzo has to get used to playing to Caicedo's place, because Caicedo Gallagher, that midfield works because Gallagher again has that attitude. He just supports whomever he's playing with. So Enzo, once he starts partnering Caicedo next season, instead of letting Enzo dictate how the game's going to happen, he should play according to Caicedo's tune, because Caicedo is that player who can do it all. He can carry, he can dribble, he can pass, he can link up, he can defend, he can tackle. Enzo has certain limitations. So when Caicedo is set and ready to, in whichever phase of the game, that is how that the synchronity has to be initiated by Enzo, not Caicedo, because Caicedo's natural game is much more resilient and safer, whereas Enzo's natural game can be a bit too risky, I would say.
Yeah, there is an element to it. Arvind, we cut you off.
yeah, what I wanted to add is like Enzo, in order to like be a top class number 8, he needs to know when to slow down, when to pace up.
Yeah.
And what I feel is like if your teammates are playing at 20 kilometers per hour, you should also play at 20 kilometers per hour. If they're speeding up, you speed up. If they slow down the pace of the game, you slow down. Make those fouls, do whatever you want to stop the opposition from playing. If you're keeping on playing at 80, 90, 100 kilometers per hour, it doesn't make sense. And if your teammates are out of sync, it's just a proper circus. That's the thing regarding Enzo. So yeah,
So
I
would
agree
also
with
agree with
Vaishnav.
Anirudh that, yeah, thanks for that. That is exactly what I was trying, but I was elongating the sentences. He just has to play to the overall team's place. But one place where I agree with Anirudh is that we shouldn't sell Enzo. I mean, you don't get players like that at every nook
Very
and
easily,
corner.
yeah.
You already have him. You should keep him, and the new coach has to work a system where they can play both these guys together. And also, you have to remember Romeo Lavia. I think he has enormous potential as a ball carrying midfielder. He's also coming into place. So once we have these guys fit, we are well placed to be a proper team. And
I do
the
agree. We
coach,
are elevating the quality from the last season. There is no point. So yeah, I think we let's see who comes, and all the discussion might take shape very soon.
but ultimately, Charlie, to answer your question, my picks of the players who
Yeah.
Chelsea are to build around: Cole Palmer. I mean, that's obvious. In attack, you have to go
Yeah.
with Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
Jackson also. Jackson, you cannot ignore the
Yeah,
role he plays. He's
Yeah.
extremely key in
Exactly.
Chelsea. Despite all his faults, he's key. But Cole Palmer, Caicedo, not Enzo. I say Caicedo is the key player. Caicedo in midfield. Defense, Anirudh, I love Reece James, man. Like, most beautiful footballer to watch. But I don't think he's a leader. I don't think he
No, I
can
think
lead.
Gusto is a little bit well-rounded, good disciplined. Also, I
Yeah.
don't mind building around Gusto also.
So I would say Cole Palmer, Moises Caicedo, Levi Colwill at the back. I think he's shown passion.
We
He's
have a
playing.
lot of players to come also, like Levi
Yeah,
Colwill, Fofana,
Levi Colwill.
Reece James.
Yeah, and I'm pretty
Let's keep
happy
on
with
adding.
Petrovic in goal. So that has to be the spine. And Enzo's
Great.
future starts flourishing when he starts taking Caicedo seriously.
No, all these players starts flourishing only when we have a proper manager with a sustainability.
Which we hope we are going to get soon.
Hopefully.
So great.